solve challenging problems and bring their ideas to fruition, engineers not only need to build successful teams, but they also have to be able to manage that team as well as the process. Engineering projects involve all sorts of different people and usually take place over the time horizon of years. Being able to bring your ideas into reality means you have to be able to manage your people, manage your team, and manage the project. And ultimately, throughout the rest of this video, we're going to learn how scheduling and project management tools can be utilized to be successful. Now, why do we have to talk about project management? The reason is because it's really, 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 really important. Let me give you an example. Back in 1989, the city of San Francisco was rocked by a very powerful earthquake. The Bay Bridge was actually damaged. The top deck collapsed onto the lower deck, and people died. Back then, people knew the bridge was no longer safe and that they needed to design a replacement. Flash forward to 2013, when the bridge was finally built. The final product, truly majestic, and the first bridge of its kind in the world, a self-anchored suspension bridge, which is extra strong against earthquakes. But let's think about this for a second. It took nearly a quarter century to bring that bridge to be. Is that acceptable? We knew that the old bridge was no longer good, but it took us nearly 25 years to build the new one. Remember that as an engineer, you have an ethical responsibility to help people and to bring your products into reality to solve problems. Is it okay for you to take that long to fix a problem that you know could be a life or death situation? I don't know. The reason the bridge took so long was because of poor project planning and management. The bridge was initially supposed to be completed in the early 2000s, but it was almost 10 years late. It was initially supposed to cost $250 million, but ended up being about 2,500% more expensive at $6.5 billion, which was the most expensive project in California history. If you don't manage or schedule your project correctly, you can have all sorts of problems, and your designs may not actually come to fruition as you planned. If we look at another example, because if you're from Maryland, this one's for you. If you've ever been at the intersection of I-95 and 695, you'll notice that there's all these flyover ramps. This was actually a project that I worked on as an intern back in the day. The goal of this project was to improve traffic flow and make changing roads a lot easier. But if you zoom in a lot closer to this project, you'll realize that something is a bit off. There's actually a ramp that goes nowhere. It's not for you to launch off and pretend like you're from Fast and Furious, the best movie franchise ever. But it's because the project wasn't finished in the way that it was intended to be finished. Engineers had actually designed all sorts of other overpasses, but they could not be built because the project went longer than it should have. Remember the adage that time is money. If you don't schedule your project properly and it goes over that time, you're paying people to work on it longer, and maybe you're changing the design itself. As a result, this project ended up costing more money than was allotted by the state, and they had to cut the project short. Now, is that all right as an engineer to have only part of your design be brought into reality? I mean, in this case, it's more or less all right because they've got some barriers up to prevent people from shooting off that extra ramp. But while traffic's gotten better, it's not as good as it could be. And there are situations like this one right here, where if you designed a chair, but you ran out of time and money, and you could only build 3 of the legs, that chair would no longer work anymore. Managing your project and your resources and having a really clear idea of what you need to accomplish is critical to be able to bring your products to life. The first step in successfully managing your project is to set SMART goals. And I don't just mean they're smart in that they're intelligent, but they're smart in that actually stands for something. It means specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-feasible. Let's look at an example goal that a lot of people set every year and see if it measures up against the SMART metrics. A lot of people around New Year's, after a gluttonous and overindulgent holiday season, will set the goal of get in shape. If we look at that goal, it's neither specific nor is it measurable. It's very vague. What does in shape actually mean? And it's not measurable because when do I know when I've gotten in shape? So a better goal that's both specific and measurable would be to say, I want to lose 10 pounds. That goal is a lot better, but it's still not perfect because it's not action-oriented. What that means is that you should embed the action that will help you achieve your goal in the goal itself. So losing 10 pounds isn't an action that I can follow through on. That's the end result I'm hoping for. It might be better to change my goal to say, I want to go for a bike ride and a run every week. Because now, by doing those activities, I can reach my end result of getting healthier. But my goal is still maybe not perfect. Let's look at the last two, which is that your goal should be realistic and time feasible. Well, is it realistic to expect that I can go on a bike ride every week and a run? That seems pretty reasonable. But let's look at losing 10 pounds. Is that realistic? It depends on the deadline that I set. If I say I want to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow, that's a terrible idea. I should not do that. That's unhealthy. But if I say that I want to lose 10 pounds by spring break, the start of beach season, well, then that actually is realistic and it has a realistic deadline as well. So now, moving from the original goal of get in shape to I want to go for a bike ride and a run every week for the next 3 months before spring break to be able to lose 10 pounds and get healthier. Now my goal is a SMART goal. It's specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time feasible. As an engineer, you hope to bring your ideas from paper into reality, which by setting SMART goals, you'll be one step closer to bringing your ideas to life. Because engineering projects are very complex, they involve all sorts of people, moving parts, and take place over long time horizons. You can't just set one goal and hope to be successful. As an engineer, you have to set lots of finite goals. But if you've got lots and lots of small goals over a very long period of time, how do you manage that? Well, engineers use a tool called a Gantt chart, which is a very useful way to organize all of your smaller goals that build up towards that larger goal or project that you hope to achieve in the end. A Gantt chart effectively shows how every single task is interrelated and how they all flow from beginning to end for you to complete your project. What's great about a Gantt chart is it shows you the interdependencies of tasks. For example, if we looked at the Bay Bridge, there's certain tasks that have to happen before others. You can't lay the bridge deck with concrete before you first laid the foundation. So by showing this clear schedule, you're very easily able to manage resources and allocate people to do different tasks. This helps keep accountability. So together, your team can utilize a Gantt chart to really manage all of the resources and skills that they bring to the table and make sure that they're doing it in the proper order so that everything can get done and you can bring your project into reality.
To keep track of your own projects and make your very own Gantt charts, you can use project management tools and websites like Trello. This page helps you keep your tasks organized and differentiate between tasks that are in progress versus ones that you've already completed. Other websites like Todoist also allow you to organize your tasks as well as assign them to different people/groups and to prioritize your tasks by indicating how important that they are. When you work on your final projects at the end of the semester, we strongly encourage you and your teams to use a project management tool to stay on task and successfully complete your projects.
Let's meet a member of another project team at Maryland and see how they use project management in their competition team.
Hey y'all, my name is Luke Rosen and I'm here to talk to you all about Steel Bridge. Steel Bridge is a student-led organization where we design and build a steel bridge. Now, a couple of requirements and constraints is that it must maintain a loading of 2,500 pounds and must be modular. Now, on competition day, it must be built and assembled within 30 minutes max. Now, although it only takes 30 minutes to assemble the bridge on competition day, it takes over a year to design and construct the bridge itself. So now, in addition to what Tom was saying, although team structure is vital, project management and scheduling is key to success. Now, what I mean by that is managing time and resources by setting SMART goals for both individuals and the team. Now, we have to do this by developing a schedule with clear deadlines and responsibilities to make sure we stay on task. Now, with the project taking place over the course of an entire year, we have students that may graduate or go study abroad. so we need to be able to seamlessly transfer knowledge and responsibilities on the fly. Now, at the end of the day, building a structure, like a steel bridge, takes a solid team structure with a cohesive management structure as well.